ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
And we don't anticipate mass availability until 2021.
Governor Gavin Newsom says the general public likely won't get access to a coronavirus vaccine until 2021. The extra steps he says the state is taking ahead of the vaccine's approval and availability.
The race for president is heading into the home stretch, and we've already seen a record number of early voters. What a local group is doing to encourage people in swing states to cast their ballots.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
They had such a bright future, and it's been taken away by this lady, and we don't know why.
2 children, their mother and grandmother, all killed in a wrong-way crash while coming home from vacation. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. The victims had just spent 2 weeks together in Ohio and were making the drive back to Vista when another driver crashed into them. ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti spoke to the children's father, who is making an emotional plea for answers.
They're good kids. They love the trampoline park. They love the beach.
Sam Homon says his kids, Zachary and Lily, loved to spend time with family. Zachary, 12 years old, had a creative and kind heart.
He loved to build. He's just a smart little boy, very creative, wanted to be an architect.
His imagination was off the rack.
Lily, like many 8-year-old girls,
He loved makeup and dancing and her dolls. And
she loved to draw.
She loved to draw.
The kids went to visit their mom, taking a trip to Ohio to visit their grandma. The 4 were driving back to California when everything changed on a highway in Oklahoma.
You hear about it all the time, but you don't think it hit home like this.
There's a car on the westbound side going east. There is a car going backwards on the interstate.
911 calls and witnesses show a woman drove at least 9 miles the wrong way down I-40 when she hit the family's car head-on, killing all 4. The wrong-way driver survived, and witnesses say they smelled alcohol at the scene. Sam and Melissa say their last conversation with Zachary was the night the crash happened.
He was excited to come home, and we just got him a brand new bed. And he was just so excited for this pillow top mattress bed that we got him, and he was just so excited, and that was the last thing that we said to him.
And as they now deal with the pain, these parents want answers.
They took away 2 beautiful children that had everything. Everything ahead of them for what? For what?
Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
Just heartbreaking. Officials in Oklahoma say they are looking into why this driver was going the wrong way. They'll be looking at medical history, driving history, and blood samples.
So tragic. And don't expect to get a coronavirus vaccine until next year. That is the message from Governor Gavin Newsom. He says even if a vaccine is approved in the next month or 2, supplies will be limited. ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty has more on California's vaccine rollout plan.
Governor Gavin Newsom today saying he's doubling down on any FDA-approved coronavirus vaccine. One of 5 states launching their own teams to independently study the findings. Newsom says the state will not roll out a vaccine until his team says it's safe to do so.
Question I often get is, are you going to take someone's word for it as it relates to vaccines? Of course, we don't take anyone's word for it. We will do our own independently reviewed process with our world-class experts that just happen to live here in the state of California.
One of those world-class experts is from San Diego.
A treasure trove of experts from UCLA, UCSD, San Diego.
The vaccine will require 2 doses spaced weeks apart for a 1-2 punch. Phase 1 will be in very limited batches, likely only available to healthcare workers. Moderna and Pfizer are leading the charge in large-scale clinical trials. Newsom says the state is already working on hurdles like logistics and storage requirements, which will be a massive undertaking.
These vaccinations require ultra-cold storage of 70 degrees Celsius, below 70 degrees Celsius. So it requires dry ice. That's top of our agenda.
Newsom says don't expect the vaccine anytime soon. For the masses, it may be a while.
And we don't anticipate mass availability until 2021. The question for all of us Is that in the first quarter, second, or third quarter of 2021? My answer to my own question is yes, yes, and yes. It just simply depends who you talk to.
Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
Well, UCSD confirmed its involvement in the study. We've requested an interview with the doctor who will be studying the vaccine before it's rolled out in California. And after 7 months, Disneyland, Universal Studios, and other California theme parks may finally get reopening guidance. Governor Newsom says information will come out tomorrow. He said they're ready to give an update because California's daily average of COVID cases has been going down. This comes just days after Disney said it reached an agreement with employee unions at the park.
Coronavirus cases are surging in much of the country as the death toll also continues to rise. And as ABC's Romina Puga reports, many hospitals are getting overwhelmed.
Healthcare workers on the front lines at the University of North Carolina Hospital in Chapel Hill say they're overworked and overwhelmed.
What's difficult is just seeing people just not be able to breathe. There's probably another day I don't cry. I'll just sit in my office, I'll cry.
North Carolina is one of 41 states facing an increase in hospitalizations. Illinois also on that growing list.
Make no mistake, we are in the second surge.
Officials in Chicago urging people to stay home. The city now seeing over 50% more cases compared to the beginning of the month.
We are sounding this alarm because the increase is real.
The U.S. reporting nearly 70,000 new cases daily, the highest number since July. Wisconsin emerging as one of the nation's hot zones, restrictions reimposed there.
We could have really suppressed this virus, and we haven't. And so I am very worried about what's going to happen.
Hoping to raise awareness about the threat of the virus, community advocate VJ Smith now recovering at home, but sharing this message from the hospital.
This hospital right now is filling up with people that are affected with the coronavirus. Some won't make it.
There are now 40 million total confirmed COVID-19 cases across the globe. 8 million of those are here in the U.S. Dr. Anthony Fauci urging people to reconsider holiday plans, saying even gathering in small groups indoors can be risky. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
An hours-long standoff just ended in Choias View. Police were called to the 3800 block of Winona Avenue off of University Avenue around 8 this morning. Neighbors in that area said a man they knew was becoming confrontational. He reportedly asked one of the neighbors if he wanted to get stabbed. When police arrived, they tried to talk to the man, but he went inside of his apartment and barricaded himself. Police left the area around 3 after making multiple attempts to get the man to come out. And a man who was shot by San Diego police overnight has died. Our breaking news tracker was at the scene on South Party Street in Mountain View. Police were called to a home where a man was reportedly yelling and breaking objects inside with a metal rod. Officers say they tried to de-escalate the situation, but the man crawled out of a window and ran at them with the rod. One officer fired a beanbag round, another fired a taser, and the last fired several shots from his pistol. The man was taken to the hospital where he later died.
Your voice, your vote. The race for president is heading into the home stretch. The two candidates will be meeting for their final debate this Thursday. In the last 30 minutes, the Debate Commission announced it's adopting new rules to mute microphones to give each candidate 2 minutes uninterrupted per segment. Well, the change comes after the first debate in which both candidates interrupted and talked over each other. ABC Elizabeth Schulze has more from the campaign trail.
With 15 days until final votes are cast, President Trump lashing out at what has become the defining issue in the election, the coronavirus pandemic.
People are tired of COVID. Yep, there's going to be spikes, there's going to be no spikes, there's going to be vaccines, with or without vaccines. People are tired of COVID.
In an all-staff campaign call that included reporters, the president leveling his most aggressive attacks yet on the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
People are tired of hearing Fauci and all these idiots, these people that have gotten it wrong. Fauci's a disaster. I mean, this guy, if I listened to him, we'd have 500,000 deaths.
Nearly 220,000 Americans have died from COVID-19, and cases are rising in at least 39 states. The president now making an aggressive push in many of those states as he trails Joe Biden in most national and battleground polls. Trump today holding 2 rallies in Arizona, a state he won in 2016.
15 days from now, we're going to win the state of Arizona, and we're going to win 4 more years in the White House.
The Biden campaign reminding supporters not to forget the outcome of 2016, saying in a memo Donald Trump can still win this race.
We can't let up.
But the former vice president off the campaign trail today, instead prepping for the final presidential debate this Thursday. His running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, campaigning in Florida today during the first day of in-person early voting. A record 28 million Americans have already cast their ballots in the election, with that number increasing by the hour.
What you will do by early voting is you will be the first to put our country back on the right track.
Meantime, former President Obama is ramping up his presence on the campaign. He will hit the trail for Biden on Wednesday in Pennsylvania. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
As California and San Diego County continue to see a record number of early voters, one local group is hoping to encourage people in the swing states to cast their ballots. ABC 10 News reporter Nate Holmes explains how the volunteers are adding a personal touch to increase voter engagement.
Boxes and boxes of letters, each one with a handwritten note.
Our goal in 2020 is just to get people to vote.
For the past 4 months, 60 volunteers with Hillcrest Indivisible have been working to help get the word out.
And this weekend, we mailed out 10,000 letters to voters around the country.
California has already seen record numbers for this election. According to the Secretary of State, over 1.5 million mail-in ballots have been returned. Here in San Diego County, 400,000 voters have cast their ballots. John Mattis, director of Hillcrest Indivisible, says these letters are addressed to voters in swing states like Arizona, Colorado, North Carolina, and more.
This is an election where it's going to be decided by small numbers of people on the margin. So those are the kind of people we're trying to reach and say, come on out and vote.
Mattis says in 2018, letters were sent out to voters in the swing states and they saw a slight increase in voter turnout. In addition to the 10,000 letters, 20,000 handwritten postcards have been mailed.
This is an existential choice. Our democracy is at stake, and it's so important to protect it.
Nate Holmes, ABC 10 News.
Hillcrest Indivisible says that it's accepting more volunteers to help send out the handwritten letters and postcards. And you have a few more hours to register in person for the November 3rd election. The registrar's office is open until 8 p.m. If you miss the deadline, you can register online until midnight. And we have a link to that in the voter guide on 10news.com. Otherwise, you can still register conditionally, and you can vote by visiting the registrar's office through Election Day.
We're keeping our eye on breaking news out of Alaska, where a tsunami warning was just downgraded to an advisory after a powerful 7.4 earthquake just hit off the Alaska Peninsula. People who live along the state's rural peninsula were seen evacuating to higher ground shortly after the quake rumbled. Several aftershocks have been recorded, including at least 2 that came in just under magnitude 6. We're still waiting to learn if there's any damage.